What's up, guys? I'm Jake from JacobTubeHD, and welcome to the movie I want to talk about, Halloween special, Supercut. So if you don't know, the past 4 episodes were big, crazy of the movie I want to talk about. This big, giant 4-part Halloween special. Pretty much, I wrote these videos as one interconnected story. So although these are individual episodes, episode 10, 11, 12, 13, I wrote them all to feel like one giant story, one giant episode. So I thought it would be a cool idea for Halloween to celebrate the season to combine all these videos into one giant long supercut. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoy this nice little package deal of the Halloween special. There's some new footage that I'm shooting that I shot specifically for this supercut to make the transition between videos feel smoother. So I hope you guys enjoy the little bits of additional footage that I made for this supercut. And yeah, cannot wait for you guys to see it. So let's get straight into it. Follow me on everything. Subscribe to this channel, hit the like, do all that stuff, notification bell, all that jazz. Stay tuned for new episodes of the movie I want to talk about, normal stuff. Stay tuned for, I got Christmas plans as well. Not as elaborate as the Halloween shit, but I got some cool stuff cooking up for Christmas. So, yeah, enjoy all that stuff. But for right now, enjoy the supercut of the movie I want to talk about, Halloween special. Peace out, Jake2 fam, and enjoy the supercut.
Something bad is going to happen to you in the 13th episode of this show.
Wait, what?
Episode 13. Something horrible is coming your way.
The fuck do you mean?
Well, I can't tell you what it is. There's probably some rules about, telling people their futures.
Then why tell me about it?
I don't know. Maybe you could take some preventative measures.
What measures?
I don't know. Just know that something horrible is coming your way on the 13th episode of this show. You'll be faced with something terrible in that episode. Something will be taken from you. And you will have to face something very scary to rescue a prized possession. Alright, good luck, buddy!
Well, that was weird. Well, I'm just going to ignore that warning until it actually means something. Hi, I'm Jake from JacobTubeHD, and welcome back to the movie I want to talk about. The show that can somehow pump out 4 big Halloween episodes in the week-by-week format and totally not start writing these in August. I am making 4 giant Halloween episodes to celebrate the spoopy season. And you'll get that reference if you were watching my YouTube channel back in 2020, around this time. Now, I would review these movies here in my room like I always do, but this room doesn't scream Halloween. It just screams, I just bought Super Smash Bros. Melee for the Gamecube, and I've never been happier. You could count my De La Soul is Dead CD as a Halloween decoration. It counts because death can be a very scary thing. But not scary enough, so off to the living room we go. Wow. This whole intro is just going to be a giant reference to the month of spoops I did a few years ago. I mean, I ain't doing a month of spoops too, but I am doing a Halloween video once a week, so I guess this kind of counts. So what will I be reviewing this month? Franchises. Whole ass franchises. Why am I doing this? Because each of the films in each of the franchises has a very similar plot structure to the original film, so yeah, might as well review all of them. So, in honor of reviewing all 5 Final Destination films today, I found this random twister spinner at a yard sale. The guy that sold it to me said that, every time I spun it, a person dies. So, I mean, he sounded pretty convincing, but he also did say that he was a time traveler from the future and that this spinner is the only way to save the population, so who knows. Also, it's Twister Hoopla. Like, you're not going to curse a regular Twister spinner. It's got to be Twister Hoopla. I don't even know what that is. Yeah, let's just spin it and let's just see what happens. The best part about this is that it doesn't even tell you who dies. So someone could have just, died tragically, or someone could have just put their right hand on red. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, I don't know because I don't even know how to play Twister Hoopla.
I fucking hate my science teacher, bro. Like, you have no idea. The guy doesn't fucking think with his head. He's stupid. Dude, are you good?
I've never played it before, really.
Yo, bro. Yo, you good, bro?
This whole spinner is just confusing. You know what, let's just ignore the fact that someone could have died and let's just get straight into the review. This is Final Destination. This film is about Alex Browning, who is about to go on a class field trip to Paris. He has a premonition of the plane blowing up and freaks out, causing him and the other classmates to get kicked off the plane. After the plane actually explodes, proving the premonition real, fate hunts down the survivors one by one because if you cheat death, it becomes a jealous ex. Final Destination is fine. I know that isn't a good way to start the review, but that's all I got for it. I love the idea and message behind this film that death can come for any of us at any time and you need to make the most of the time you have here. I also love how creative the death scenes are. It's like each death scene is setting off the trap in a game of Mousetrap. My joke about death being a jealous ex is really true. Everyone who cheated death by getting off that plane dies in the most convoluted way possible, and it's just funny. It creates a lot of suspense of trying to figure out how these people will die, but it's also just funny seeing how crazy these deaths can get. My only problem is that nothing really emotionally connects me to any of the characters to want to see them live. There was a storyline that was cut out of the movie where Alex and Clear Rivers have an emotional relationship with Clear getting pregnant. That storyline would have actually got me invested in at least 2 characters, but they were cut out after test screenings. This film doesn't really give you any reasons to root for the characters to survive, but you didn't come here for that. You came here for the deaths. And this film definitely delivers what it promises it will deliver. Final Destination gets a 3 out of 5 buses. Now, before I move on to the next film, I really want to spin the spinner again. It's like my fidget toy and I can't help myself. Anticlimactic yet again. But hey, at least I don't feel like spinning this for another couple minutes so I can review the next movie that made an entire generation afraid of driving behind log trucks. This is Final Destination 2. This film is about Kimberly Corman going on a road trip with her friends. She has a premonition of a massive car accident due to a log truck and freaks out, causing her and others to leave their cars. After the accident happens, killing Kimberly's 3 friends and proving the premonition is real, fate hunts down the survivors one by one, just like the last movie. Unlike the first film, they have the help of Clear, who is the survivor of the events in the first film, which is a spoiler, but she's on the posters for this one, so it's fine. Final Destination 2 feels very similar to the first film. Very violent kills with very mousetrap ways of killing people, along with characters that you don't grow personal attachment to, which prevents you from caring if they live or die. However, they actually brought Clear back in a meaningful way that makes me care about her. She even has an interesting arc with her being the sole survivor of the first film's events. I'm shocked that this film has gotten me to care about a character in a franchise filled to the brim with disposable characters. The rules of how Death's plan works in this film and how to cheat the system is more nuanced in this film than the last one, which is a good and bad thing. It elevates this film and does things the first film didn't do, but the logic and how it works raises questions in the end, when the first film's logic was simple and easy to understand. There's also some CGI shots that don't age well, but I can't crap on it too much since this film came out in the early 2000s. But at least the practical effects outweigh the digital effects because they definitely had a higher budget this time around, especially with the opening accident. Final Destination 2 is just the first film with more brutal deaths. Once again, if you are here for a bloody gore fest and see a bunch of people dying, then you'll definitely enjoy this film more than the first one. Final Destination 2 gets a 3 out of 5 nipple piercings. Alright, it's been a couple minutes. Time to spin the Twister Hoopla spinner again. You know, every time I spin it, I think something's going to happen. But every time, it just lands on a different body part and color. I can't even tell which one it fully landed on. You know, it just... There's multiple modes with Twister's Hoopla, and there's multiple decks. You know what? Let's just get into the next film. Hopefully this one, feels a little bit different than the last two. Probably not, but, I have to review all these films anyway. This is Final Destination 3. This film is about Wendy Christensen, who is attending an amusement park with her friends and classmates to celebrate their graduation. She has a premonition of the roller coaster breaking down and freaks out, causing her and other classmates to leave the ride. After the roller coaster breaks apart, killing some of her friends, her boyfriend, and proving the premonition real, fate hunts down the survivors one by one. Yeah, that sounds about right. There is one interesting thing about this film, which is that it has a choose their fate option on the DVD where you get to make pivotal choices that change the course of the movie. There is an actual choice that you can make to end the movie in minutes. Is this film different than the other two? Kind of. Normally the person who has the premonition sees clues that relate to someone's future death. This time, since Wendy is a photographer, all the pictures of the survivors contain hints of how they're going to die. I really love this concept, and it adds more mystery to the film. All these characters are destined to die, but this feature gives them more of a fighting chance than the other films. The deaths are obviously more crazy because why wouldn't they be? It's fucking Final Destination. If you're going to make 3 of these, you're gonna have to go and get more overboard with the deaths. I also really felt attached to Wendy as a character. She really made me emotionally invested in the story. This film, while feeling very similar to the other films, contains a new and exciting element as well as a character to get you emotionally invested into the story. Final Destination 3 gets a 4 out of 5 bottles of lotion. Now, I don't need to set this up because I'm going to keep spinning the spinner. You know what? This shit's really starting to feel like a Final Destination film. Where, after every movie, I have to spin the spinner even though I don't know if it's actually doing something.
Alright then, what am I gonna watch? Jaws Revenge. Oh my god, it has a 0%. Can't be that bad.
I know what you're doing. I'm hungry.
But I can't help myself because this shit's just become too addicting to spin it every few minutes. And you know what, I'm just gonna move on to the next film before I start going insane. This is Final Destination 4. It's not called Final Destination 4. It's actually called The Final Destination. Well, why not name it Final Destination 4? The one after this is called Final Destination 5. Why leave this one to be the fucking odd man out? Fuck it. This is The Final Destination. It's a stupid name. This film is about... You know what? Let me guess the plot of this movie before I even see it. Okay? I'll guess it only knowing the scenario of the opening scene. It starts with a racetrack. Great. This film is about Nick O'Bannon, who goes to watch a race with his friends. He has a premonition of cars crashing and freaks out, causing him, his friends, and other people in the crowd to leave the stands. After the cars actually crash, killing everyone else in the stands and proving the premonition real, fate hunts down the survivors one by one. Now let's watch this movie. I'm not even surprised anymore. I'm not surprised that every entry in this franchise feels like fucking Groundhog's Day. You'd think that they try to do something different in each film, but not with the Final Destination. There's not much to talk about with these repetitive films besides the same talking points, but at least the other sequels try to do something new in the same formula of the first film. The only thing new here is the shitty 3D effects that wouldn't even look good if I was watching this with 3D glasses. The effects of this film are awful. I can't even give this film the benefit of the doubt of being released in the early 2000s because it came out in 2009. This film is just awful. We're back to the roots of me not giving a shit about any of these characters and not feeling emotionally attached to them. All the deaths include digital effects when the other 3 had some really good practical effects. Some of the deaths are too far-fetched. Even for the standard this franchise has set, these deaths are too crazy, bizarre, and unrealistic. This is the one where they just ran out of ideas for how to kill people in crazy ways. This film is a prime example of we ran out of ideas, but the other 3 movies made a ton of money because they can't even execute what the franchise is known for correctly. Add that with shitty 3D and you get the worst movie in this franchise. The Final Destination gets a 2 out of 5 bottles of hairspray that can just move on their own for some reason. And I don't even have a funny fucking joke to add to this shit movie, so let's just spin the spinner and just get this shit over with. Yeah, I think this episode is just my descent into insanity. And it's just the first episode of the month. You know what? Let's just move on to the final movie before they make a 6th one, since they're actually making a 6th one. That's not even a joke. I'm not even kidding. They were supposed to go into production on the 6th one right before the strike started. This is Final Destination 5. This film is about Sam Lawton, who is about to go on a retreat with the company he works for. He has a premonition of the bridge the bus drives over snapping and freaks out and... Hold up. Someone survived the premonition? How the fuck did that happen? What happens to her? Is she just off Death's list despite being the ex-girlfriend of the main character? Anyway, he freaks out, causing him and other work colleagues to leave the bus and get off the bridge. After the bridge actually breaks apart, proving the premonition real, fate hunts down the survivors one by one. You know, when I started this, I came up with the idea to copy and paste the original film's plot description and change the scenario to correlate to each movie to see how repetitive these films are with their premises. And yeah, they've worked perfectly like every time to describe these movies. I mean, the ex-girlfriend surviving the premonition threw me for a loop, but besides that, they've been all the same. The 4th film mentally broke me, but this film brought me back. They added an interesting concept of taking someone else's life to save yourself from death's chain. I really thought that concept was interesting, and this film did a great job of exploring that and the morality of it. I didn't get as attached to the characters here as I did in the 3rd film, but I really did care for our core group of characters, mainly Sam, ex-girlfriend Molly, and Peter. Every death here is a 100% step up from the last film, and some were even hard for me to watch. Harder than other deaths in this franchise. There's some 3D effects in this film, but they aren't as in-your-face and obvious as they were in the last film. There's also some bad CGI effects in this film, but once again, nothing will ever be worse than the last film. Also, I won't spoil this film's ending, but holy shit, it's awesome. Every film ends with some tragedy happening to one or multiple survivors, but the scenario in this film is interesting to say the least, and the best of the whole franchise. This entry in the franchise adds a new element to keep things fresh, the scariest deaths in the franchise, and a really fucking good character study about the morality of taking someone's life. Final Destination 5 gets a 4 out of 5 nails that terrify the living shit out of me and creates the most suspenseful scene in this entire franchise. So, to celebrate the end of the Final Destination series, even though they're making another one and this one should have been the last one, let's spin the spinner one last time. Ooh, right hand on yellow. Or green. I can never tell with this. Final Destination as a franchise is very repetitive, but shines when it tries to do something out of the norm from its formula. My favorite film is Final Destination 5 for having a unique concept that changes so much in the film. My least favorite is The Final Destination for being so unoriginal even in the one thing every other Final Destination film gets right, which is the kills. Also, I've learned 2 things from this video. 1, this stupid spinner does nothing and I'm bored of it. 2, I'm staying the fuck away from water, okay? Water has been involved in at least one death in every film, so I'm not ignoring any signs. This spinner ain't a sign. I spun it 6 times, and I am not seeing that 6 people randomly died on the same day from unknown cause. So, I just saw in the news that yesterday 6 random people died back to back without any information about the cause of death. You know what? I'm just not going to buy anything from a garage sale or a yard sale ever again. Both of them. I need to boycott both sales. And you know what? I'm just never trusting weird old men again, okay? If a random old guy says that he's from the future, believe him. Because if you don't believe him, people die. People just die. You know, I just need to stop playing games that are Twister or Twister Hoopla or whatever Twister modes are out there. I should get some ice cream. Yeah. Ice cream sounds good. Sounds good right about now. Ice cream. Gonna get some ice cream to help me forget that I'm the indirect cause of 6 people's deaths. Hi, I'm Dave for JacobTubeHD, and welcome back to the movie I want to talk about. The show where someone can just steal ice cream from my freezer right as I'm recording a different episode. Oh my god, I don't even know why I wanted ice cream. I just craved it. Is this some weird sign? Oh no, am I gonna die? Does this mean I'm gonna die? Okay. Oh. You know, I could have ran into my room and then contemplated my fear of death with my copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee for the Gamecube, but I just like being in front of the camera. It's just so comforting. I don't know why. I'm gonna make an assumption, and that assumption's probably gonna be right because I wrote these scripts, but I'm assuming that things are gonna happen that will give me clues as to what I'm reviewing in the next episode, kind of like a premonition. Judging by the fact that ice cream sounds like ice cream, I'm assuming that I'm reviewing the entire Scream franchise, and judging by the fact that I hate myself, it's going to be all 6 movies after reviewing a franchise with 5 films that were all repetitive. At least this one won't be better though, because although Final Destination has very disposable characters, both the franchises have very disposable characters, but you know, at least Scream's got more memorable actors attached to them. You know, the killer may not be death itself, but this time it's 2 people wearing a mask and just being film bros without Twitter, even though I'm not calling that shit X, despite the fact that that joke is dead of making fun of the name. And who the fuck is calling me? I'm using my phone to record the episode.
Hello, Jacob.
Hello, no caller ID number. Oh, are you one of those scam callers? I always wanted to fuck with a scam caller. This is going to be so much fun. This has been a dream of mine.
No, but I do want to ask you a question. What's your favorite scary movie?
You know, I actually don't know. Can you give me some time to think about it?
Wait, what?
Man, I love the fact that I could just hang up calls with my mind, you know. I have weird superpowers when I'm using my phone to record the episode. Well, while I think about that, let's just get started with the first film. This is Scream. This film is about Sidney Prescott, whose mother was murdered a year ago. Around the 1-year anniversary of this murder, Sidney and her friends get strange phone calls from a masked killer that attacks the friend group one by one. Everyone is a suspect in this horror mystery directed by Wes Craven, who did the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. I don't have to mention that, but I just felt like it for some reason. With Scream having its mystery of who is Ghostface, it could be easy for the film to become stale on rewatch due to you already knowing the film's mystery, but Scream has enough in here to keep you coming back. The film shines in its humor, especially when the killers get revealed. Unlike Final Destination, you fall in love with every character in this film, which makes all the deaths more impactful. Ghostface is a menacing entity, especially because this character can be anyone. Also, this film falls into the horror tropes, but it's self-aware of those tropes, which makes the film more interesting, especially since it was released during a time before self-aware humor became mainstream. This slasher revitalized the genre in a fun, self-aware way that will leave you wanting to revisit this gang in Woodsboro. This film gets a 4 out of 5 football boyfriends that can kick someone's ass. Ooh, no caller ID is back.
Thought about your favorite scary movie?
No, because you have to think about what defines scary. Is it a horror film? Is it a thriller? Is it just a film that makes you scared? Because the Emoji Movie scares me. I think he hung up. So that I can get into the next film. This is Scream 2. This film is about our 4 survivors from the last film. Sydney and Randy, who are both in college, as well as Dewey and Gail, who aren't on good terms after her book she wrote about the events of the first film. After 2 people die at the premiere of a new Stab movie, Ghostface returns and is after Sydney and her new friends in college. Scream 2 just feels like the first one, but at college instead of high school. Our 4 main survivors from the last film are excellent and keep us invested in the story and wishing for their survival. Besides that, none of the new characters here are compelling enough to have you falling in love with them and rooting for their survival. Kills are still good, and the reveal is the best part of this film. There's commentary about sequels, but the self-aware sequel humor feels the same as what the first film did, and it doesn't reinvent the wheel or do anything different besides talking about sequels. Overall, Scream 2 is very similar to the first film, which isn't a bad thing, but the new elements here don't hold up to the first film. Scream 2 gets a 3 out of 5 creepy cotton weirds.
Do you know what your favorite scary movie is now so I can kill you?
You know what? I think I got it. It's Scary Movie.
Yes, what is that movie?
I told you, the first one's my favorite. The second one kind of, is good. It's pretty good. But the rest kind of just fall off without the Wayans brothers.
Ugh.
I don't think he likes me. So let's just take a look at the next film. This is Scream 3. This film is about Sydney visiting Gail and Dewey on the set of Stab 3, which Stab is a fictional in-universe franchise about the events that take place in the Scream films. That's a mouthful. Anyway, a new Ghostface attacks the cast of Stab 3, and Sydney and the gang has to stop Ghostface once again. This film talks a lot about final chapters and trilogies because this was supposed to be the last film, which obviously that wasn't the case, and thank God this wasn't the last Scream movie. This is obviously my least favorite film of the franchise. Once again, our new characters are the most bland they have ever been, and you don't care if they live or die besides our returning trio. The most annoying thing in this film is the overpowered voice changer that allows Ghostface to change his voice to sound exactly like a different person, like Dewey or Sydney. This is stupid and a device that wouldn't exist in 2000. Sydney is absent for most of the movie, which makes her appearance here seem pointless if Gail and Dewey are doing so much on their own without Sydney. The reveal is also disappointing, especially knowing that this was supposed to be the last movie. However, not everything is disappointing here since Jay and Silent Bob make a quick cameo. That would make this a 5 out of 5, but I have to be fair. Scream 3 is the weakest in the franchise, having less memorable characters and overpowered objects that just weaken the things that every Scream film gets right. This film gets a 2 out of 5 crybaby directors.
Please tell me you've picked your favorite scary movie so I can get this over with.
Halloween Town.
How is that scary?
The pins and needles scene was very scary. Oh, so what? You can be self-referential, but I can't reference the Halloween Town review I did like 3 years ago? Wow, just wow. Shame on you. Shame on you, person that's trying to murder me. Shame on you. Now let's just take a look at the next film. This is Scream 4. This film is about Jill Roberts, who's Sydney's cousin. A new Ghostface starts attacking her and her circle of friends, causing our surviving trio to return to Ghostface once again. This was the last film Wes Craven directed before he passed away. Scream 4 is definitely a step up in quality from the last 2 films. You don't connect to all the new characters here, but Jill and Kirby are definitely standouts. This film doesn't do too much to mess with the formula, but the one thing this film does definitely is a standout. I won't spoil it, but my jaw was definitely dropped in a way no other Scream film has done. Sydney, Dewey, and Gale are fully utilized here and don't feel like they were forced into this film just because they are the faces of the franchise. This film also has one of the most disgusting kills in the entire franchise. Also, this film does exactly what you expect it to do with how much phones and technology had evolved in between the third and fourth movie. Overall, this film has some of the most surprising elements in the franchise and is the most creative entry since the first film. Scream 4 gets a 4 out of 5 endless number of horror reboots.
For the love of God, please pick your favorite scary movie.
Look, I don't know, okay? Because there's layers to this shit. There's layers to this question you're not even thinking about.
What layers? It's a simple fucking question.
Hey, it is never a simple question.
Just review the next movie.
I will. This is Scream 5.
Actually, it's just called Scream.
Don't even start this shit. Don't even fucking start this shit. You know, in the last episode, I had to deal with this. Okay, Final Destination 4 was just called The Final Destination. Alright, so don't even fucking tell me that Scream 5 is just called Scream.
I'm not telling you because that's what it is.
Fine. This is Scream. The 5th one. Not the first one. This film is about a new Ghostface emerging in Woodsboro 25 years after the original murders. This new killer attacks Sam and her group of friends and needs help from our core group of 3 to stop this new threat. This film is commentating on requels, which explains why this film is just called Scream. Also, since this was the first Scream film made without Wes Craven, this film heavily pays tribute to him, even having a character named Wes. This film is the closest I've gotten to connecting to the new characters since the first film. I really fell in love with this new group of characters, especially Sam with her interesting backstory. This one does something unique which I can talk about since the next film spoils that. At the start of every Scream film, someone dies. However, in this film, Tara, who is the character in the opening scene, survives the whole movie. She's handicapped for the whole film, but it still shows that this film is at least trying to break the mold the other films have been trapped in. Dewey and Gale are great in this film, but Sydney is definitely underutilized in this film. Her contribution here does progress the story and character growth of Sam, but Sydney's really only here in the final act. They definitely utilize new technology in this film in very creative ways to kill people. This film does a great job at connecting you to the new characters, despite the fact that it underutilized returning veterans. The 5th Scream film gets a 4 out of 5 torches.
I understand that it's hard for you to figure out your favorite scary movie since I didn't specify what I mean by scary. So what's your favorite horror movie?
Well, you see, there's layers to that one too, because is it my favorite because it's scary? Is it my favorite because it's genuinely a good movie?
Why are you this difficult?
Autism.
I don't know how to respond to that without getting canceled, so I'll just hang up and you can think about how you're going to annoy me some more. Bye.
Okay, guy who isn't Ghostface, but he sure is acting like him. You know what? Let's just dive into the last film for this video. This is Scream 6. This film is about our 4 survivors from the last film, Sam, Tara, Minnie, and Chad, moving out to New York. However, Ghostface follows them to New York and starts going after them and their new friends. This film sees the return of Courtney Cox as Gale and Hayden Panettiere returning from Scream 4 as Kirby. This is the first film where Neve Campbell, who plays Sydney, doesn't return because Paramount would have paid Neve her worth. Honestly, that's probably for the best since there wasn't much story left to tell with Sydney after she got her happy ending in Scream 5. This film proves how great our new core 4 is. I felt attached to some of the new characters, but not as much as I did with the last Scream movie. It's nice to see Kirby back, but I did enjoy her more in Scream 4. Ghostface is the most brutal and badass he's ever been. He's literally holding a shotgun in a bodega. If that's not awesome, then I don't know what is. Some things in this film are very ridiculous and unrealistic, how some people survive, but anything is better than that voice changer in Scream 3. Also, I love the New York setting and how they incorporate the big city into the film, mainly with the tension in the subway scene. Overall, this film is great for people who want to see more of the Scream 5 survivors and to see what Kirby's been up to all these years. There's some surprising twists in this film and a really badass Ghostface, but unfortunately this film suffers due to some very unrealistic moments that will take you out of the experience. Scream 6 gets a 4 out of 5 people dying virgin. Alright, Mr. Unknown Caller ID guy, I don't have a favorite horror movie decided, but I do have a list of my favorite movies and very detailed reasons as to why I love them. Starting with...
Fuck it. You're too complicated to kill. I could have killed so many other people in the time it took you to think of one horror movie that you can consider to be your favorite. You couldn't even think of your favorite horror movie since you just deviated to your favorite movies. I don't know why it's this hard to kill people the way Ghostface does it.
Oh, that sucks. I hope you have a nice day. Scream is a fun franchise that can poke fun at tropes while doing those exact tropes. Even when films have no characters that you connect with, you still have a core group of 3 that are excellent characters you fall in love with each time. Now there's 4 characters that came out of the 5th film that come close to capturing the same magic the OG 3 captured from that first film and beyond. My favorite film in the franchise is obviously the first one for perfecting every element and quota that the others since haven't hit or hit in the same way the first one did. My least favorite film in the franchise is Scream 3 for having ridiculous elements and underutilizing main characters, leading to a disappointing reveal. Okay. This seems like the part where there would be some sort of hint as to the next franchise I'm reviewing. I don't see any food-related object that could possibly tell me what I'm reviewing next, so... Yeah, I'm just gonna go to bed because I deserve it. Because it's exhausting reviewing 11 films in the span of 2 weeks. Like, you don't know how difficult that could be. So I'm gonna go to bed because I deserve some shut-eye. Fucking tired. Good night, my copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee for the Gamecube. I don't know what I would do without you. Alrighty. Time to get some shut-eye. Whoa. It's a weird ass dream. It's just my room with a lamp on. Oh wait. Oh, this is a dream. Oh. Oh, this is a dream. God damn it. Hi, I'm Jake from JacobTubeHD and welcome back to the movie I want to talk about. The show that I can apparently do in my sleep, judging by the predicament I'm in. The good news is that I can do an episode in my pajamas. The bad news is that apparently my dream has boundaries and I cannot leave this room. I tried my hardest, but the dream won't let me leave. Seriously, I've really tried hard. Very hard. And the scientific discovery is that people can do movie reviews in their sleep and upload it to the internet. So, do with that what you will. Okay? Just do it. I've thought about what I should do in this dream, and I think the only logical thing I can do here is to review a movie franchise about nightmares, even though dreams aren't supposed to be logical. I literally could have imagined anything. Fucking anything in a dream, and yet I'm imagining me doing a movie review. I am dreaming of me doing a movie review, even though that's just something I do when I'm awake, except for the fact that I can't access my fucking cool Halloween set because I cannot leave this room. Because apparently I got limits in dreams. I don't know how that's possible, but dreams have limitations to me. But you know what? On the positive side, there's some good stuff about this dream. Like, I got my copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee for the Gamecube. And if you're wondering why I keep mentioning that game, then don't. I can just go on and on about anything I love without stopping and without reason too, okay? I would kill for that game. You got it? Kill. I would kill for that game. Alright? That was $90 and it's in really good condition and it came with the instruction manual. Alright? So zip it. Also, I just realized this is episode 12 of the show. And I remember, you know Eddie the Demon, right? Right? Yeah, you remember him. I think you mentioned something about, episode 13 of the show and something bad happening, but I don't know, I just ignored him. So let's just move on to a movie review, even though I don't know how you guys would be seeing this, okay? Logic doesn't exist. This is a dream episode. Literally go to anything that takes place in a dream. There's no logic whatsoever. So let's just jump straight into it. This is A Nightmare on Elm Street. This film is about Nancy and her friends becoming the victims of the spirit of a serial killer named Freddy Krueger, who haunts and attacks them in their dreams. Nancy must uncover the mystery of Freddy and how to defeat him before the dreams become real and Freddy kills them one by one. Whatever premonition that's deciding these movies is pretty clever, since this film, like Scream, was directed by Wes Craven. Also, this first film apparently has Johnny Depp, since this was the first movie he acted in. Freddy Krueger is one of the most creative horror villains ever. He is a character that makes a dream a reality. He can tear your clothes and they'll be ripped when you wake up. It's an amazing concept, especially because every dream scene seems like it could be a reality. Also, Robert Englund gives an amazing performance as Freddy. That's an impressive feat to do, especially under all that makeup. The makeup and the practical effects are top notch. Every murder and everything Freddy does is done practically, and it is incredible some of the things they were able to pull off here. Heather Langenkamp, who plays Nancy, is brilliant in this film, making you emotionally attached to her character through her performance. The other characters were alright. They didn't feel disposable, but none of them stood out in the way Nancy did. The parents are insufferable, but they aren't the focus of the film, and they were probably created to be insufferable so you can relate to Nancy even more. This film is an incredible feat in the horror genre, with amazing practical effects and an incredible final girl. A Nightmare on Elm Street gets a 4 out of 5 worms because holy shit, that was the most disgusting scene in this film. Also, Evil Dead was on her TV. The unintentional cross promotion between these reviews is just so weird and insane. And oh my god, wait, Evil Dead was on Nancy's TV. Is that a sign? Was Eddie in the Evil Dead review? Was Eddie in that review? Was he right? Is something bad gonna happen to me? It's probably just a coincidence and means nothing. Anyway, let's just move on to the next movie in this dream that I have no control over. Like, literally, whoever's up there, can you just give me at least one fun thing in this dream? Like, just one thing! Just one thing! A CD of Beats, Rhymes, and Life from a Tribe Called Quest. It's not Quest's best album, but, this will do. Thanks, Dream Gods! Once again, it's my favorite, but what really goes on is very slept on. I suppose I just gotta move on to the next movie in order to get one step closer to waking up. So, let's just jump straight into it, I guess. This is A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. This film is about Jesse and his family moving into a house on Elm Street. Jesse starts having nightmares about Freddy, but this time he's trying to enter the real world by possessing him and making him do his bidding. No one from the original film returns besides Freddy himself, as we have a new cast of characters. I love how this film tries to be different from the original. Instead of Freddy picking off teens one by one, he slowly breaks down one teen to take control of him and kill people through him. Most of the deaths occur at the end of the movie. It's really interesting seeing Freddy break the sanity of Jesse until Freddy takes full control. It's a very unique concept, especially compared to the other films I've reviewed this month. I still like Nancy more as a character, but Jesse is a standout. None of the other characters are that compelling, or if they are compelling, they don't have enough screen time for me to grow a huge connection to them. Lisa, who is Jesse's girlfriend, is the only character to get close to the connection I have with Jesse. The practical effects are incredible like the last one, and Freddy is as great as he was before, despite appearing less in this one. Like I said before, most of the kills don't come until the final half hour, so Freddy doesn't show up much until the final half hour. It doesn't ruin the film for me, but it could for others. It really depends on what you're looking for in a Nightmare on Elm Street sequel. The kills are great and incredible, but you do need the patience to get there, which is something I love about this film. If you're looking for a killing spree like in the last film and not really cool kills that happen in the last half hour, then this film isn't for you. However, if you are looking for a really cool character study that breaks the norm from what this franchise could have set in its sequel, then this film is 1000% for you. Nightmare on Elm Street 2 gets a 4 out of 5 weird baby face dog things. Whatever these things are, that's my rating system for this film. I've really got nothing to do to pass the time between movies. Like, all this shit, this is just normally what's in my room. You know, I wish in this dream that I was listening to Break of Dawn by De La Soul right now while flying majestically through the sky. But instead I'm just stuck here reviewing movies. This dream's lame. Actually, how is this dream possible where I just can't control shit? What kind of Inception shit, business, whatever is this? Let's just get to the next movie. I can't be bothered by this shit. This is A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors. This film is about Kristen, who gets admitted into a mental institute after having a dream about Freddy. She is admitted into an institute with other patients who experience nightmares about Freddy. Nancy from the first film gets hired by the hospital to deal with these teens. Nancy helps these teens realize their special abilities in the nightmare world and helps them defeat Freddy like she did once before. This film does what you'd expect the Nightmare on Elm Street film would do, except it's way more ridiculous than the first film. The first film was scary because it seemed realistic. Even the rules of the nightmare seemed more realistic than special abilities they can have in their nightmares. It's some weird Inception shit. Freddy kills people in ridiculous ways, but the practical effects to create these deaths are incredible. Robert Englund is terrific as Freddy, but this time he is more funny than scary here. I didn't really connect to any of the characters in this film besides Nancy, whose connection I had with her in the first film continues here. She's the heart of this film and really the only grounded thing in this movie. This film is campy and ridiculous. This could be right up your alley, but for me, it's very predictable and is a step down from how creative the second film was. Nightmare on Elm Street 3 gets a 3 out of 5 Bane puppets. So let me get this straight. These kids have superpowers in their dreams and I don't. One can look as pretty as they want and another one can fix their disability. And I'm stuck here reviewing Nightmare on Elm Street films. Is that fair? No, I don't think that's fair. I want cool powers. Shit. That was fucking awesome. I think I'm finally starting to take control of my own dream. I wonder if I can make other things fly. You know, that was a stupid question. If I can make shoes fly, then anything can fly if I wave my hand like I did. No, I wish I could fly, but I guess making other objects fly will have to do. Anyway, let's just get into the next movie. This is A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. This film is about Kristen and the other survivors of the last film, so here's the consistency I thought this franchise would have. She's played by different actors here, with Dream Warriors being played by Patricia Arquette and Dream Master being played by Tuesday Knight, but at least we got the same actors playing the other two survivors. Freddy comes back to terrorize them and other teens, but this time Freddy's taking advantage of the ability to drag people into your dreams, which newcomer Alice has possessed. This film takes no time for setup as we jump straight into Freddy's back and we need to stop him. No time to set up new characters or catch up with old ones. We're just launched into the nightmares and Freddy trying to kill people. You can tell Wes Craven is not involved with this film at all. He was only a writer on the last film, but here he has no involvement besides creating the character of Freddy. Everything just feels rushed here. It's around the same length of the other films, but it just feels like we're rushing through everything. I have no connection to any character here. Even the returning guys from the last film I have no connection to because I didn't connect to them in their last movie. The film is just taking away what makes these films different for more weird dream elements and Freddy killing people in more ridiculous ways. Freddy is great, but he's more funny than he is scary. He was terrifying in the first two films, but now he's more of a joke with funny one-liners and ways of killing people. Also, every film gets more and more ridiculous with these dream powers. The new element in the second film was unique and exciting, and now the differences are how many more dream powers can we add to a somewhat grounded series. People are absorbing dream powers in this film. How did we get from a murderer killing people in dreams to absorbing other people's dream powers? Why do we even have dream powers in the first place? Fuck, she can even absorb the people who've died and start acting like them. What the fuck? The practical effects are always on point, and that's no exception here. There's also some really cool camera movements I really like here. The only good things to come out of this film is the Are You Ready for Freddy song from Fat Boys and A Nightmare on My Street, which was supposed to be in the movie from Will Smith and Jazzy Jeff, but producers decided against its inclusion. This film is proof of how ridiculous this franchise is getting, and I'm betting it's only going to get worse from here. Nightmare on Elm Street 4 gets a 2 out of 5 dogs that piss fire. Seriously, what's with this franchise and things that look like dogs related to dogs? Huh. It's weird. Door just randomly opened in my dream. Am I finally going to explore what's outside of this room and see what else is in this dream? Huh. I guess there's only one way to find out. There's nothing interesting out there. This is what my house looks like in the real world. This dream's so boring. Well, we've officially reached to the halfway point of this franchise, so that's nice. You know, I'm dreading the next ones, but fuck it, because it's just the day of my life. You know, let's just move on to the next film before I cry. This is A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. This film is about Alice and Dan, who both survived the last film. Freddy's back and he's trying to use Alice's unborn child to attack her and the teens during the day through the baby sleeping and to be reborn into the real world. Alice has to free the spirit of Freddy's dead mother in order to stop him once and for all, because why not? Let me get my compliments out of the way since they are the same as last time. Freddy's fun and the practical effects are great. Now let's get to the review. Why is this franchise still going? There's once again no proper time to spend with any of these people. It's just, here's the characters, now watch them die. I don't even care about Alice, who's in another film that didn't have any time to set up the characters and make me give a shit about any of them. I want to care about these people, but the film makes it so goddamn hard when we have no time to spend with any of these people. We're just thrusted into the plot with only minutes of seeing these characters before we start our journey with Freddy. Also, how does this franchise get more and more ridiculous when I think it's reached its peak craziness? This shit is more and more ridiculous. Honestly, I've just become numb to it. I'm not even surprised that they've resorted to Freddy using a baby sleeping to kill people. I'm not surprised that people are getting sucked into comics and ultrasounds. I'm just done. We're on number 5 and I'm losing my mind. This film is the reason why I'm insane, as it's just a further decline in this franchise that just gets more and more crazier. And honestly, I don't even care if the main characters live or die, which shouldn't be something I'm hoping for. This film gets a 2 out of 5. Is that kid named Jacob? Alice's kid. Am I the kid that Freddy is trying to be reborn through? This franchise is so insane that I'm starting to become a part of it. What the fuck is going on? What the fuck is that? How did that happen? Was that a sign? And was that kid being named Jacob also a sign? I don't know if it's this franchise or if I'm just spending way too much time in this dream. You know, let's just look into the next film. This is Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare. A nice spoiler of a title. This film is about Freddy Krueger after he killed all of the kids and teenagers in his hometown of Springwood. Freddy finds a home for troubled teens and begins to prey upon them and their counselor Maggie. I didn't think this franchise could get worse. I don't even know what to say about this film. This is the most bizarre film in the franchise, and that's saying something because the bizarre bar for this franchise has been set pretty fucking high. My criticism about the last few films has been that these films don't set up the characters for me to get invested in them. This film doesn't even try at all. There are like 5 main characters and we only barely get to learn about 2 of them. We don't even know how Freddy came back to life in this film. He's just there and we have to live with it. The deaths are the craziest they've ever been. Deaths were creative and even disgusting in the first 2 films. Now they are just cartoony and bad shit insane. Freddy lost all of his scariness in the other films, and now he's not even funny anymore. Robert Englund is still a great performer, but his lines are just trying to throw catchphrases on the wall to see if something sticks, like "Welcome to Prime Time, bitch" from the 3rd film. We learn more about Freddy's origins here, which are good scenes, but they just get buried under all the crazy and ridiculous shit in this film. I would like this film if it was just about Freddy's origins, but instead we get Freddy controlling kids in video games. This film is so crazy that the ending is viewable in 3D. You can view the film's ending in 3D with those fucking paper red and blue 3D glasses. You know this franchise jumped the shark when this film ended in 3D at a time when 3D was just paper glasses with red and blue lenses. This film doesn't even try. The only thing it tried to do was just go completely overboard, and it succeeded at that even when I thought this franchise couldn't get worse. Freddy's Dead gets a 1 out of 5 acid trips. I'm really going insane. I'm in my own dream and I am going insane. Yeah, you are, but you'll get sane. Maybe not right after this dream, but sometime after it. Holy shit, I am going insane. I have a fucking clone. It's a dream. Literally anything can happen. So who are you? A clone my subconscious conjured? No, I'm actually you from the future. So if you're me from the future, then why did you time travel to a fucking dream? I need to set the timeline straight since this happened to me in that dream. I got a set amount of time I need to be here for, so ask whatever you want. Okay, well, where from the future are you from? Like a day from now. So you're me when I wake up. Not like right after you wake up, but like later in the day. Well, that sucks. How do I get out of this dream then? You're actually doing the right thing by reviewing these movies in your dream. You got 2 films left to review, and then you're free. Awesome! So who's controlling this dream? Someone who is trying to hurt you and take away something you love the most. But you'll be fine just as long as you don't give up and keep moving forward by reviewing these last 2 movies. Okay, I have one last question. Was Eddie the Demon from the Evil Dead review right? And what the fuck is gonna happen to me during episode 13? Ooh, I just went through this. So, when you wake up from the dream, you'll find that... No! I have to know what this shit means. I have to know what it means. You know what? It's fine. He said I got 2 movies left, and then I'm done, and then I'll wake up and face whatever this 13 shit is myself. I just have to relax. It's just 2 more movies. Just 2. I review movies all the time. I just reviewed 6 of them in my sleep. And these next 2 are outside of the continuity of the other 6 films, so maybe they might be good. And this next film even has Wes Craven back as the writer and director, and he's even in the fucking movie. So maybe this one will be really good. So let's finish this shit. This is Wes Craven's New Nightmare. This film is about Heather Langenkamp and her son Dylan seeing strange signs and occurrences around the 10th anniversary of the original Elm Street film. A new evil emerges in the real world and takes the form of the fictional character Freddy Krueger. The only way for Heather to stop the evil is to play Nancy one last time in a new Nightmare on Elm Street film Wes Craven is developing. As you can see, this film is not in the same continuity as the other films. Heather is playing a version of herself in this film. Robert Englund is also playing himself, as well as other actors from the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. Wes Craven is back as the writer and director, and he even plays a role in this film. I'm so glad this film exists because this is the breath of fresh air I've needed with this franchise. I love the concept of this taking place in the real world with Heather. It definitely grounds this franchise after how crazy it has gotten over all these films. This film isn't just a killing spree with characters you don't get to know, but a slow burn very similar to the second film, and with a characterized version of Heather you can fall in love with and root for to survive and protect her son Dylan. Freddy is much scarier here and less like the way he acted in the second half of the franchise. We don't really see Freddy in action until closer to the end of this film. This is the closest this franchise has gotten to the scary level the first film was at, with scenes filled to the brim with suspense. The few kills here are great, and the practical effects are always great. The final giant set piece in this film looks fantastic, and is the best final set piece in the entire franchise. Also, this film feels like it's laying the groundwork for Scream with how meta it can get, with how much talk there is about the Nightmare on Elm Street films, and how their existence correlates to the evil entity embodying Freddy. Also, it's filled to the brim with references to the first film. This film was needed as it provides new life into the franchise by bringing back elements these films were missing, like the suspense, the amazing but grounded deaths, and characters you can connect to and want to see survive and receive a happy ending. New Nightmare gets a 4 out of 5 Sleepwalking Children. Here it is, the final movie in the franchise. I'm so excited to finally... The fuck is this? Is that a teleprompter? Why am I reading off a teleprompter in my dream? You know, let's just see what the shit says. Jacob acknowledges the teleprompter, but does nothing about it, like the other hints to what's happening next episode Jacob has acknowledged. Hey! I don't ignore hints or premonitions, okay? I'm just trying to keep the episode moving along so I can get out of this dream, okay? Have I been ignoring hints that might be important? Yes. Yes, you are. Huh. Well, can I continue to ignore hints so I can get out of this dream? Yes. Yes, you can. Okay. Great. Thank you, teleprompter. Thank you so much. Alright, now let's head into the last film in this franchise. Before you guys mention it, I'm not reviewing Freddy vs. Jason here. Despite it continuing the continuity of the Elm Street films, I'm not reviewing it here because I consider it Nightmare on Elm Street 7 and Friday the 13th 11. It has both Freddy and Jason and therefore continuing both of their stories, so I don't feel like segregating that film into one franchise. Plus, I should review all the Friday the 13th films before diving into the crossover. So with that elephant in the room out of the way, let's finish this franchise. This is A Nightmare on Elm Street, the reboot. This film is about a group of friends becoming the victims of the spirit of a serial killer named Freddy Krueger, who haunts and attacks them in their dreams. They must uncover the mystery of Freddy and how to defeat him before the dreams become real and Freddy kills them one by one. You know your movie is bad when I can't figure out who the main protagonist is for 30 minutes. I feel like most of these films I just say the same shit, but literally our main protagonist gets barely any screen time in the first half hour and we focus solely on someone who's just gonna die. We get to see these characters for a minute and then Freddy comes and the plot starts. One of these characters is actually called Nancy and she's barely in a third of the movie. Since this is a reboot, they obviously have to recreate scenes from the original, but much shittier. Freddy is decent in this film. Jackie Earle Haley is certainly no Robert Englund, but he's at least trying to make the character his own. I don't like that Freddy taunts people more than he kills people. It is to set up a larger narrative and a mystery these characters need to solve about their past and Freddy, but it's just weird how the second person that dies has so many interactions with Freddy before she finally kicks the bucket. At least the kills here are more grounded than ones in the original franchise, and the mystery in this film can be intriguing at times and other times predictable, but why would I care about any of these characters when we barely get to know them outside this mystery and maybe like a minute before the plot gets going? This reboot brings a couple interesting things to the table, but doesn't bring enough for me to care about these characters. If you're going to reboot a horror classic, then you need to give me characters to care about in order for it to not feel like a shitty copy of the original. A Nightmare on Elm Street, the reboot, gets a 2 out of 5 Mr. Krabs because holy shit, Clancy Brown is in this movie. I feel like they should bump this film up a point, right? Like, Mr. Krabs is in this movie. That's just incredible. So, is this it? Is this the end of the dream? Can I wake up now? No? Oh, I forgot that with these franchise reviews, I do a overall final thoughts section. I'm sorry, Dream Gods. I'm sorry. Won't happen again. Won't happen again. Overall, the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise has its quality moments, but is mostly filled with underdeveloped characters and just gets thrusted into plot and horror that isn't actually scary, but is just trying to give birth to the next funny catchphrase. There's some creative films here that break the mold, and by some I mean two if you don't count the original, but it's mostly just how far can we run the original format into the ground. My favorite film is obviously the original for being the most grounded, having the best characters, and having the best Freddy. Freddy's Revenge and New Nightmare are close seconds for trying to reinvent the wheel with this franchise. My least favorite is Freddy's Dead for being the most ridiculous and losing any and all charm the films before it had. And that's it for A Nightmare on Elm Street. Time to wake up! What the fuck is this? I reviewed all the movies. Please let me go. Please let me go. Is this because I didn't do Freddy versus Jason? I'll do it at some point, I swear. Oh my god, please. No, please no. Oh god, the door's opening. I don't know what it means. I'm gonna die. Please. Please don't kill me, please. And if you're gonna kill me, please kill me in a cooler way. Don't use the butter knife, please. Kill me any other way but the butter knife. I don't even know if that can kill people. That's gonna be like a slow and painful way to die. I don't want to go out like that, please. Please, I've been a good boy. Oh god. That was the weirdest dream I've ever had. It's weirder than that dream where I met Mr. Clean in Mexico. Well, I don't know how into that, but win's a win, I guess. Well, I'll just play my copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee for the Gamecube until I have to do the last review. Ah! Where is Smash Bros. Melee? Who the fuck took my copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee for the Gamecube? I swear to God, I'm gonna kill the person who did this. I'm gonna fucking kill them. And how is my computer on if I've been sleeping all night? So, we have a bunch of random letters in a predetermined order with extra letters that need to be placed into the word or words. Damn it, I haven't played Wordle in a year. Wait a minute. Are those the fucking fonts of every movie I've reviewed on this show? That H is Hocus Pocus 2, and that D is Bad Trip. So what does this mean? No, there's no way that it spells this, even though I swore I would never review that movie. fucking get to work. Hi, I'm Jake from JacobTubeHD, and welcome back to the movie I want to talk about. The show that decided to make its official Halloween episode a scary undertaking with 13 movies to review in one episode. So, the letters spelled Halloween Ends. It was 13 letters that used the different movies that I reviewed over the course of the show. And it spelled Halloween Ends. I don't know why I or anyone would decide to do this, besides the fact that, it would be funny to review Halloween a few days or on the day of Halloween. I don't know why the fuck I'm doing this. I could have done Friday the 13th on Friday the 13th, but no, I'm doing Halloween 4 days before Halloween. Don't know why. I don't know why I'm doing this to myself. I'm like punishing myself. This is literally torture. This is literally torture to take on this much crap. And to add, big jokes and throughout the whole thing and just, music underneath all the reviews. This is just going to be a lot. I had to start writing this in August. That's how much this is. So, but besides all that, I just need to get into this because I need to save my copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee for the Gamecube. So, let's just bite this bullet. This is Halloween. This film is about Michael Myers, who murdered his sister on Halloween night in 1963. 15 years later, he escapes the mental hospital and returns to the town of Haddonfield to kill again. This was the first feature film that Jamie Lee Curtis, who plays Laurie Strode, starred in, and was directed by the legendary John Carpenter. This film takes a while to get started, but once it does, it really gets exciting. The film takes time to set up the characters, and it really is needed, as it makes these characters feel like real teens and doesn't rush them immediately into plot like a certain franchise I just reviewed. I love the suspense this film builds with Michael. Even in the slow beginning, they drop small bits of Michael to create suspense before he begins his attacks. All of Michael's kills happen in the dark, and you can't really see them or him until he goes after Laurie, which at first I didn't like, but upon rewatch, I do appreciate it, as it leaves more to the imagination. It's up to us to visualize the horror of what Michael is doing to these teens. This film would rather scare you with its suspense than with its kills and killer, which works. Jamie Lee Curtis does a great job in this film, especially for her first ever feature film that she starred in. You get to know enough about the other teens and kids to where you're able to connect with them, even knowing that these teens are most likely not going to make it out of this movie alive. Dr. Loomis as a character in this film didn't really interest me, as he was just used to drop exposition about Michael, but he still delivered a great performance. If you're here to see blood and guts and Michael killing throughout the whole movie, then this isn't the film for you. However, if you are here to see a character-driven story with, lots of suspense, then this is the right first entry for you. Halloween gets a 4 out of 5 horny teenagers, because that's what a lot of these characters basically boil down to. I don't give a shit about a big elaborate running joke, because I just need to make this as painless as possible so I can get my copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee for the Gamecube back that was stolen from me in a dream. I don't even know how the fuck that's possible. But it doesn't matter, because I got 12 movies left to go, so I just gotta keep on running through this, going through this. Alright, this is Halloween 2. This film is about the aftermath of the first film after it ended with Michael surviving after being shot 6 times by Dr. Loomis. Loomis searches the town for Michael while Laurie is hospitalized after her injuries from the first film. Michael kills some more people and even stops by the hospital to try and finish the job he started in the last film. If you thought that description was very short, then you're right, because that's all this movie is. Normally being fastly thrusted into the plot without learning much about the characters would be a problem for me, but this is the same night the first film happened, so it doesn't matter. There's some new characters here, but they don't get as much attention as the supporting characters in the first film did, because the point of this film is to see what happened after the first film. Laurie does take a bit of a backseat in this film, because for most of it she's stuck in a hospital and only has big moments towards the final half hour, but she does shine here just like the first film. Loomis is better here, since he's not just the guy to dump the exposition, because he dumped all of it in the first film. All of Michael's kills are clear as day, so there goes the suspense the first film had. In fact, I don't even know how some of these people died. It just feels like nothing happens until the final half hour of the movie, where Michael arrives at the hospital Laurie is at and tries to kill her. It's nice to see what happened to Laurie and Loomis right after the first film, but besides that, not much happens here. It feels pretty dull up until the final half hour, where we get to see the stuff we came for, which is Laurie going up against Michael. Halloween 2 gets a 3 out of 5 random guy that just brutally dies for wearing a mask that's similar to Michael Myers. Like, that guy brutally died and he was just walking. And you know what's weird about this film? It's like, it improves upon the stuff I didn't like in the first film, but it takes away the things I did like. Well, I mean, none of that matters because since John Carpenter wanted to make this franchise an anthology, the next film has nothing to do with Michael Myers or Laurie Strode. So let's take a look at the only Halloween film without Michael Myers that performed so bad at the box office, they brought him back for every other film after this one. This is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. This film is about Ellie and Daniel investigating the death of Ellie's father, which is tied to the shady activities of Connell Cochran, who is the owner of the Silver Shamrock Novelties Company. Now they need to stop Cochran's evil plan before he brainwashes the kids of America to do his bidding. This is the most unique film I've reviewed this month. This film isn't really scary, but its mystery hooks you into the story, especially when weird shit starts to happen. Our two main leads aren't compelling in the way Laurie was in the first two films, but the suspense and disturbing elements are enough to hook you into the story. There's some truly disgusting shit in this film. The most disgusting stuff out of any of these movies. This film genuinely made me sick. That's not even a joke. Cochran as a villain here is great. His performance gives off a slightly eerie vibe, even when his evil plan is revealed. It really sucks that this film failed because although it doesn't completely hit the mark, it has enough elements to keep me interested and engaged with the story and mystery. Halloween 3 gets a 3 out of 5 orange blood. Now, normally I would take a minute to digest the disgusting shit I saw in this movie, but I got 10 films left. I just need to get this done ASAP. This is Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. This film is about Michael Myers waking up after a 10-year coma. Dr. Loomis learns of Michael's return and tries to stop him before he can kill his niece, Jamie. Loomis somehow survived the second film, which doesn't make sense, but it doesn't matter because he's great in this film. I really like that this film separates Loomis from Jamie for a good chunk of the film. It allows us to learn more about our main characters before they're thrusted into fighting Michael just like they did in the first film. The characters are pretty basic, but at least we are able to build enough of a connection to them to care about them and root for their survival. The one I connected with the most was obviously Jamie. Besides that, it's a basic slasher with Michael Myers who has a shitty mask this time around. Like, it looks cheap as fuck. I get that he picked it up at a costume shop, but they could have made it look better. While this film isn't as good as the original, it gives you characters to care about and root for. Halloween 4 gets a 3 out of 5 stabbings with shotguns. Gotta go, 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 gotta go. Bring me the next film. This is Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. This film is about Michael Myers returning a year after the last film. Michael now seeks revenge on the now mute Jamie who survived the last film. Dr. Loomis discovers the psychic connection Jamie has with Michael and has to stop him once and for all. Once again, Jamie is a standout in this film. Even with her being mute for a good chunk, she still provides a solid performance. Loomis is fine in this film, but I prefer him from the other movies on this one. He just seems very aggressive towards Jamie, despite the traumatic events she went through in the last film and her still dealing with that trauma. These new characters are super fucking annoying, and there are comedic sound effects in this film that just feel out of place. The psychic abilities are kind of interesting as it's used to help track Michael when he's about to kill. It's a nice new element to add to this franchise. This film has some cool elements, but ultimately has characters so annoying, I actually want them to die. Halloween 5 gets a 2 out of 5 Michaels floating across the river. And here I thought I structured this whole Halloween special around Ends being the worst movie in the franchise. Well, I still hate it, so I guess it's still fine. I'll discuss my hatred for that movie later. This is Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. This film is about Michael coming back once again to attack Jamie, who escaped him and his new cult with a newborn child. Now Tommy Doyle and Dr. Loomis have to stop Michael and protect the newborn child. At least I can say that this film isn't as bad as the last film. This film goes by way too quickly. What I described is pretty much the entire movie. We had some time with new characters, but not enough before we get thrusted into dealing with Michael and his cult. Speaking of the cult, it's weird. The idea of the curse is really unique because it shows how this evil can pass between people and kids, but the cult is a bit excessive. We get a young and early in his career Paul Rudd, and he's decent in this film. Dr. Loomis is also great for the little screen time he gets. Although we don't get to spend too much time with these characters, this film provides some interesting concepts that were poorly executed. Curse of Michael Myers gets a 3 out of 5 warm blood rain. You know what? It's nice that these films aren't giving me much to work with. Makes my job here easier. Now let's move on to some weird timeline shit, since now the last 3 films, they don't matter anymore. Only the first 2 movies matter for these next 2 movies, but Jamie Lee Curtis is back, so these films have to get better, right? It's fucking Jamie Lee Curtis. Let's just jump straight into it. This is Halloween H2O. This film is about Laurie Strode, who faked her own death and moved to California under a new identity. Michael discovers her new identity, and now Laurie has to take on Michael once again with the life of her son at stake. Well, this is the breath of fresh air I needed. I like when these films create suspense like the first one, where we don't see Michael in full action until the second half of the movie. It gives us time to learn about this Laurie and the characters surrounding her. I really got connected to our main protagonist Laurie and her son John and their relationship. The other characters are decent, but Laurie and John are the core of this film, with Laurie pouring her trauma on John by overprotecting him. The kills are fantastic, but most of them besides a couple happen toward the end of the film. Some people might not be into that, but I'm fine with it because it allows us more time with our main characters before we're thrusted into the fight with Michael. This film takes a while to get to the fight against Michael, but the journey to get there enhances the stakes of the fight. Halloween H2O gets a 4 out of 5 TVs playing Scream 2. Insert random joke here to segue to the next film. This is Halloween Resurrection. This film is about Michael Myers wanting to return to his home in Haddonfield, but it's discovered that a reality TV show is being filmed in the Myers house. Michael arrives home, and these 6 thrill-seeking teens have to stop him. This film is definitely something. Our teens on this reality show are terrible except for Sarah, who is actually likable. The other 5 are just annoying stereotypes of attention-seeking assholes you would find in most reality shows. Speaking of the reality show, why? The only interesting element it adds to the film is the multiple camera angles. This just feels the same as the other movies, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I do have one more thing I want to mention. What is Busta Rhymes doing here? I like his music, but he adds nothing to the story besides being the host of this show, and he sticks out like a sore thumb. Also, Jamie Lee Curtis is in this film, but I don't want to talk about it. This is a weird film with elements that feel out of place for this franchise. Halloween Resurrection gets a 2 out of 5. You know what? After the last 3 franchises I've reviewed this month, I expected that one of the films here would be having the exact same title as the original movie, so I'm not even mad about it. So let's see. This is Halloween, the reboot. This film is about Michael Myers escaping from a mental institute to attack Laurie and her friends while being pursued by Dr. Loomis. That's it. Just the first film, but rebooted. They spend a huge chunk of the film setting up Michael's origin story, which I didn't care for. It's weird to try to humanize a character that's supposed to represent evil incarnate. They spend 36 minutes doing what the original film did in 5 minutes. Michael is supposed to be this evil being that can't die, but instead he's just a kid who got bullied and had a shitty home life. We don't meet Laurie until there's an hour left of the movie. The rest of the film, it just feels like a shitty remake of the original, but now evil has a deep backstory. Loomis gives a good performance, but he treats Michael like he's pure evil when he clearly has a motive thanks to the first half of the film. Evil isn't supposed to have a motive. Also, no hate to the actress that plays Laurie, but she just seems like a stereotypical teenager character. This film has great kills and decent characters, but just gives relatability to the boogeyman and does a half-assed job at recreating the original film. Halloween, the reboot, gets a 2 out of 5 Spy Kids. Wow, I didn't expect a reboot to get a sequel. I also didn't expect to have the will to make it this far, so I guess that's life. This is Halloween 2, the sequel to the reboot. Not a reboot of the original Halloween 2. This film is about Laurie being hospitalized after the events of the last film. Michael is still at large but attempts to reunite with his sister once again to finish what he started. This film is definitely more exciting than the last one. We can get straight into the action here because you're mainly here to see Laurie and what happened to her after the last film. I like that this film isn't trying to be a shitty remake of the original Halloween 2, but just continuing its own story. Laurie in this film feels less like a stereotype and more like her own character. Still no Jamie Lee Curtis, but her performance here can be powerful with how she portrays the trauma she's dealing with. Michael's better here, but still holds that baggage from the last film. He also has weird hallucinations I don't know how to feel about. The new characters here are alright. They just feel like more stereotypes. They're likable, but average. Dr. Loomis seems like an asshole here who only cares about profiting off of the tragedy of the last film. This film is a massive improvement over the last one. Laurie becoming more of a full-fledged character and jumping straight into the action instead of 30 minutes of unwanted exposition. Halloween 2, the reboot, gets a 3 out of 5 Weird Al's. I'm not going to play a Weird Al song just because I played 2 songs Busta Rhymes was on. You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. There's 3 fucking movies that are just called Halloween. How many times in this one episode am I gonna review a film titled Halloween? 3 more movies. Just 3 more movies. 3 more movies and then I'm done. This is Halloween, the requel. This film is about Laurie Strode, who has been haunted by the killing spree Michael Myers went on 40 years ago. It even affected her relationship with her daughter and granddaughter. However, when Michael returns back to Haddonfield, Laurie has to face the being she's feared once again. I needed a really good film like this to get me excited about the episode again. Seeing the effects this trauma has had on Laurie is really powerful and can be relatable to others who are dealing with their own trauma. It doesn't create that fear that the original had, but it definitely has the suspense the original did. Laurie's daughter and granddaughter are great additions to this franchise and the best secondary characters this franchise has brought us. It also celebrates the original film in a beautiful way. This film is a beautiful ode to the original while giving you some brand new characters to root for. The third film, titled Halloween, gets a 4 out of 5 Weird Chessboard Ground. 2 more films and I'm done with this shit. So let's just get through this faster. Let's get through these last 2 movies quick. Because I want to be done with this so I can get my game back. This is Halloween Kills. This film is about the immediate aftermath of the last film. Laurie is hospitalized while her daughter Karen and granddaughter Allison team up with the other survivors to form a mob and finally take down the evil known as Michael Myers. This movie is okay. I really like seeing how the whole town is affected by what Michael Myers has done. It can be ridiculous at times, but other times it can be heartfelt. The kills are the best and most violent in the franchise, and I really enjoy Karen and Alice's role in the story. It's nice seeing characters from the original film return for this film and having their moments to shine and honoring the original. The only thing I really didn't like was that Laurie was sidelined in this film since she was stuck in the hospital the whole film. This film has its problems, but overall presents some great ideas and incredible kills. Halloween Kills gets a 3 out of 5 Evil Dies Tonight. Here it is. The reason why I'm here. My hatred for this movie is what brought me here, and my hatred for this film is what's going to get me out of here. So, let's finish this and get my game back. This is Halloween Ends. This film is about Laurie living with Allison 4 years after the events of the last film. When newcomer Corey is accused of killing a boy he was babysitting, a cascade of violence forces Laurie to confront the evil she can't control once and for all. Where do I even start with this film? Let's start with a few positives. Every returning character does a great job here. I also like seeing how the town deals with the aftermath of Michael Myers. Now on to the main reason why I hate this film. I can sum it up in 2 words. Corey Cunningham. I had no problem with his performance. I have a problem with the fact that the final movie, with Laurie and Michael, since this is Jamie Lee Curtis's last Halloween film, makes the fact that this character takes up the majority of the movie so annoying. Michael Myers is barely in the film. Corey does most of the killing. The deaths are great, but this isn't how you end a 40-year story. I know it tried to be like Halloween 3 while still having Laurie and Michael, and that's fine if it wasn't the final movie. If this was advertised as a normal entry, then this film would have been a decent new story, but that's not what this is. It's the end of a 40-year battle with Laurie and Michael. You don't end a story with a new character taking up most of the runtime. A decent premise got ruined by being told in a film that needed to finish its story. Halloween Ends gets a 2 out of 5 old weak-ass serial killers. I did it. I fucking did it. 13 movies. I did it. Oh, you wanted a final thoughts segment? Alrighty, let's make this short and sweet. Halloween is an okay franchise. My favorite film is the original Halloween for creating scary moments in a way no modern horror film does, which is leaving it to the imagination. My least favorite is Halloween 5 for having annoying characters and out-of-place sound effects. Now give me back my fucking game, whoever did this. I did your bidding. I did all your bidding. I don't even know who you are or where you live. Just give me back my copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee for the fucking Gamecube. Or I will hunt you down and give you a level of pain you've never felt before. Show your face. Show your fucking face. Grow a pair of balls. And show yourself, you
Hey, Jacob!
Hey, Hayden. Hayden?
Yeah?
Are you the one that's been ruining my life for the past month?
I wouldn't call it ruining your life. It's more like putting you through hell for my amusement.
That's the same thing.
I beg to differ.
So, you cursed a twister spinner.
No. That old guy is really just a wizard from the future.
I had Mr. Unknown Caller ID call me, who apparently wanted to kill me, even though I didn't get that impression from him.
You annoyed him so much that he won't return my calls.
And you stole my game in a fucking dream. How do you even do that?
You're not gonna ask me why I did all this?
I'm gonna ask you that, but I need to know this for my own curiosity.
You know Inception?
Yeah?
It's like that movie.
Where do you find a machine that allows you to go into my dream and steal my game from the dream and the real world at the same time?
Craigslist.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, look. I only did this for one reason. And one reason only. You haven't reviewed Elf yet.
That's it?
Yes! You should have reviewed Elf last year with Eminem. You just had to review The Grinch. An Elf review would have gotten you YouTube famous. I've been planning this ever since you started this new show to make you review a film you hate like Halloween Ends and take your most prized possessions to show you how serious I am about me wanting you to review Elf.
So let me get this straight. You made me review 32 movies this month because you wanted me to review a Christmas movie even though we're not even that close to December?
It's only 2 months away.
Why are you obsessed with this movie?
Autism.
This makes sense because I use that same excuse. Now, you see, I've been planning on doing an Elf review since the start of this show, mainly because of you. You see, I decided that if I was going to do 4 Halloween episodes, I would also do 4 Christmas episodes and make an Elf review, the video to go up right before Christmas. So you didn't have to torture me the past month, and you just needed a little more patience.
Oh. So, I just wasted my time planning this since August? Well, this is awkward, so I'm just gonna say your copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee for your GameCube is back in your room where you had it and just sleep.
You mean my game is back?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah! Well, I got my copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee for the GameCube back. I have to review Elf this Christmas, and all is right in the world, even though I reviewed more films this month than my entire episode count doubled. I lost a lot of sleep this month because of that. Well, I guess the only thing that's left to do is to go back, to the dream where I reviewed the Nightmare on Elm Street films and to warn past Jacob about all these events that transpired this episode. I took Hayden's advice and I found a device that allows me to time travel back into a dream on Craigslist. It's weird the amount of things that you can find on Craigslist. It said in the description, it said that there was a set time limit for how long I could be in the dream, but I didn't pay attention, so let's do this. Well, that sucks. I didn't get to finish my warning. You know what? Now I understand why that other Jacob vanished mid-sentence. Because I'm that Jacob now. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this Halloween special because I sure didn't. This was way too much work. I bit off way more than I could chew. I reviewed a total of 32 movies this month. 32! That's insane! What sane person would do that? I need to take a break and do a normal ass episode for a minute. Okay, I need to go talk to people, touch some grass, do whatever I can to get away from this, because this was way too much. Way too much. So much work went into these things. You do not know how much work goes into these. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed these crazy episodes celebrating Halloween. I hope you enjoyed these episodes as well as the show as a whole. And I hope you guys have a happy and amazing Halloween. I'll see you guys next time with a episode reviewing one film and not 13. Because I'm not doing that again. That was way too much. Way too much. Yes, I won. Take that. Suck it. I'm the best. I don't care if I'm going up against computers. They ain't got shit on me. Ah.